answers, and you know.
Found each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Nice to see all of you and welcome back to What's the Obsession, which is soon going to be the vintage name for this channel. Live stream and chat talking about the Idaho 4, the tragedy at the University of Idaho that I'm sure all of you know about at this point. And this evening, we're going to talk about the surviving roommates and specifically Bethany. So I haven't seen a lot of you guys in a few weeks. I haven't done a live stream in a while and took a bit of February off for, I have a full-blown career and family and a few other things going on. And it just kind of was one of those times where a lot of things were catching up with me. I was away for a little bit with my son to spend some time with him. And I totally miss you guys. So it's great to be back. Now, when I was planning to be coming back doing a couple live streams, I was imagining that some information we were going to be talking about regarding roommate BF, as she's referred to in the PCA or probable cause affidavit. We also know she's Bethany. I hadn't really heard anybody talk about her yet, right? At all. So I thought that was going to be the first time anyone was going to talk about her really in a substantial way. But, me and Ashley Banfield, I love her, admire her, usually adore her, except for some things that have happened recently, as some of you know. But I think she and I are back on good terms again. She beat me to the punch, and you might be surprised as to what I have to say about the coverage she recently did. All of that is going to make a lot more sense in just a couple moments here. So we are going to be talking about roommate Bethany. I'm I'm trying to just say their first names. I think people know their first and last names. I'm just trying to be respectful. I have a tendency to call Bethany by her first and last name when I'm talking. So if I make that mistake, I'm sorry, and I apologize to her. So thank you so much for being here. Moderators, you guys are freaking awesome. Subscribers, members, new friends, old friends, we love you all. And I just want to get to it. So I'm not going to say hi to everybody right now, but I see you guys and I'm so glad you're here. And Yarn and Mittens, I hope that you are doing well. I've been thinking about you a lot recently. So, okay, so let's get on the same page with a couple of things first. So I'm just going to pop in, have a little content. I just want us to get all on the same page, get grounded in facts, in evidence, in things that are rooted in reality. This is the way that we like them to be on this channel. And then we'll move forward from there. And yes, everything that we are going to be here, you're going to be hearing tonight about the surviving roommates. Let's see, everything, is that an accurate statement? Almost everything, and we can say unless otherwise noted, is sourced from the two guys that I've been reporting out some information from them on over the last just few weeks, but I have been talking to them for, oh my gosh, since it was 11 days after this happened. We figured that out recently, so more than a couple of months now, and I do just want to say, at this point, all you have to trust is my word or their word or my word and their word. So I can just tell you my perspective on things, every single freaking thing. And I'm not kidding. Every single thing I've discussed with them, that they've told me, that they've later come back and corrected, that they've made a point about contacting me about something that they wanted to kind of respond to, I guess, that they had heard through the media or YouTube. Everything has proven to be 100% just spot on, accurate, fact checked. They've been thoroughly vetted by myself and a couple other people. And again, at this point, I know all you have is my word. So I'm just asking you to please take it. It is worth plenty. So I just want you guys to know that. Okay. I do have a little bit of a cold. Bear with me, my voice, and you know how you get that little fuzzy cold, like that brain thing going on? I got that going on right now. So, all right. Is this one we want to watch, or is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're going to watch a little bit of this together. So happy you guys are here. Thanks for being here, guys.
What we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene. And tonight I can tell you.
Well, I can actually tell you that this is good information from Ashley Banfield. As some of you may know, in the last live stream on this channel, What's the Obsession, before I took a little break to take a family vacation to the happiest place on earth.
I'm sorry I mentioned going to Disney during a uploaded video on such a horrible topic. Several people have pointed that out to me. I understand it was possibly in bad taste. I just wanted to let you guys know where I was and what was going on, because people are also asking, where are you? Where are the videos? Where are the live streams? Where's our community? So I do apologize for that.
Earth. We actually broke this news on What's the Obsession. So it was, in fact, Ethan's best friend who apparently found Ethan and Xana. And I learned this from two guys who have been people I've been corresponding with who've become really great sources for this channel. I learned this well over a month ago, and they thought they were going to be breaking this news on this channel. So I guess that's not going to be the case. But what I can tell you is of the people who arrived on the scene prior to the 911 call being made, it was 2 males, the person Ashley Banfield speaking about, and also Ethan Chapin's brother, Hunter, and 4 females. So sometime this coming weekend or early next week, and today is February 20th, 2023, we are going to be discussing all of those details on this channel.
Well, update. Today is actually now February 27th, 2023, here in freezing cold ice storm, New York. And we're going to be talking about all of that stuff tonight.
And we're going to be doing it respectfully. But nevertheless, it seems that the information here presented by Ashley Banfield is in fact accurate. Is this something you knew before watching this video or before hearing it on my channel about a week and a half ago? Please leave a comment and let us know what you think.
We've known a lot of things, not everything, but the probable cause affidavit, some of the police reporting, and the news conferences, that's given us a small picture. But what we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene. And tonight I can tell you. You have heard that the 911 call was made from a surviving roommate's cell phone. But we can now tell you who it was who made that call. I'm not going to name the person, but it was Ethan's best friend who made the 911 call.
Now, I just want to say that everything that she is touching on right now, or that is being referred to in this little video that I'm playing to get us all on the same page, all of this information is going to be further expanded upon tonight in this live. Easy breezy stuff.
And that's because it was Ethan's best friend who made the discovery of Xana and Ethan's bodies. And that is a very tragic and sad detail to report. Up until now, it had been an assumption that there was maybe an unconscious person because it was a guess that there was someone behind the door who wasn't answering a bedroom door. Now we can tell you that it was Ethan's best friend who had been called over that morning and made the discovery and took Ethan's pulse. Also called out to get.
Now, I do take issue with this detail of taking Ethan's pulse, and I'll tell you why. It's actually not myself so much that initially took issue with it. Apparently that did not happen. You'll hear the full story again in just a couple minutes, but I didn't want to let that little detail slide by without pointing out that we do not on this channel endorse that particular fact.
Get 911 on the phone. It is more than likely that the phone that was used to call 911 was surviving roommate Dylan Mortenson's cell phone. You have probably heard up until now that it was an unconscious person that the dispatch said over the radio. But that's not unusual because when there's confusion, it's standard protocol, according to an article that came out recently in Airmail. Standard protocol, if there's confusion, just to skip the necessities of getting clarity and just dispatch the first responders for an unconscious person, regardless of what the actual situation is. So for anyone getting caught up on an unconscious person, probably not a good idea, given the fact that that's just sort of a standard description for get moving. We need people on the location. Again, this is multiple sources tonight with knowledge of the investigation telling us about who made the discovery of Ethan's body and then, of course, of Xana's body. What I can tell you is who made the discovery of Maddie and Kaylee on the 3rd floor. I'm not sure if it was any of the other kids who were called over. What is, interesting about this whole scenario that played out that morning was that kids came to the home and then 911 was called. So who knows if there was any knowledge of the car college, right? It's Sunday brunch, but some kids who are unidentified at this time went over to the house that morning, and it was Ethan's best friend who made that discovery and took Ethan's pulse and yelled for call 911 and ultimately got on the phone on Dylan Mortensen's phone and talked to the 911 operators. I want to bring in News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton. Brian has been at the forefront of it's the 10 piece of the puzzle that we've been trying to figure out.
Confusing based on the reports that have been so and things that they haven't shared. I think beginning with your exclusive reporting last week, things started to make more sense in terms of surviving roommate Dylan and the fact that she may have thought that there were noises coming from upstairs, but not necessarily noises or that a murder was happening. That started to explain
now,
why
I do
she
also
may have
want
not.
to say that his characterization of Ashley Banfield's exclusive reporting, I just, when they say something that I'm not standing by, I'm just going to say it, not only for my sake, being the channel owner and this being my credibility, but also for the sake of the people that I've been talking to from Idaho. It was not Ashley Banfield exclusive reporting. In fact, that reporting that was recently done on News Nation was old news, as many of you know, as many of you have pointed out to me before I even realized it. And I just can't allow this, kiss assing to exist here. Oh, you're exclusive reporting. No, it was not that. I mean, no doubt Ashley Banfield, Brian Enton have done amazing reporting on this case and many other cases and topics. So let's just call things what they are, people. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to inflate them, myself, or anyone or anything else.
Not initially called 911, in the middle of the night. Your exclusive reporting sort of shed light on that. And now I think this sort of continues to, again, put the pieces together now to know that there were people who came to the house that morning. And it would make sense, what you said about the unconscious person, that may have just been a categorization that the 911 call was put under. But certainly tragic, as you said, to think that Ethan's best friend took the pulse. I mean, it's all just so heartbreaking.
Is anyone else having buffering issues? Because if you are, I'd like to fix that for you. Yeah, right. I know, K-Braze. It's just craziness. Yeah, Agape Love. I just want to mention really quickly. I believe this is pretty recent news. Apparently, the way the story is told is that the owner of the property, 1122 King Road, has handed over something like that. This wording is obviously, I'm sure, not exactly how it went down, that property to the University of Idaho. And apparently the plan is to raise the place, like it's going to be gone. And I think it needs to be. I think that there was a more complex business arrangement than a handing over of the property to the university. I'm trying to look into exactly what that is. I don't have any details yet, but I'm working on it. If you guys know anything, please let me know.
All right, my friends. So I just want to remind you of some other information about this case that we broke here on What's the Obsession. And this has to do with the order that these poor victims lost their lives in this terrible tragedy. Recently, on several channels, the channels have been announcing who was found where and their theories on what happened and why, as though this has never been discussed before, but that's not exactly the case. So here is a compilation of some video cuts from this channel over the past few weeks. Please watch, listen carefully. This information is legitimate. It seems like Stephen Gonsalves was definitely right on this one. The perpetrator, Brian Koberg, did not need to go up the stairs from the second floor to the third floor. It is understood, although it has not been confirmed by law enforcement, that Koberger must have entered through the second floor sliding glass door or window that was in ground level, which was on the second floor. I guess there's another possibility in my mind, which would be to come right through the front door if he had something to do with the ordering of the Jack in the Box late night snack that is said to have been ordered by Xana. But we will visit that later this week. So if Brian Koberger came in through the first or second floor, he definitely did not need to go up the stairs to the third floor. We can also tell from the probable cause affidavit that Brian Koberger, in my opinion, I firmly believe he was not in the house at 1122 King Road prior to the victims arriving home from wherever they were that evening. The timeline in the probable cause affidavit is pretty tight, with Brian Koberger driving around with, his phone not being with him, being off and back at his apartment in Pullman. We don't have that method of tracking him, but he was certainly seen on enough video cameras to make a very tight timeline. In my opinion, there is no way he was lying in wait in the residence. Something we can also tell from, well, not necessarily the probable cause affidavit, but another court document that has been released, and that is the criminal complaint, which in Idaho is the charging document. In the criminal complaint, the charges are listed in this order: count 1, felony burglary, and then count 2, 3, 4, and 5 are each counts of first-degree murder.
Now, let me reiterate that the point in bringing this information up, which we kind of as a channel team discovered, I don't know, about a month back now, right? Or was, I don't know, a few weeks, a month, I can't remember, is that the order in which the charges are listed in the probable cause affidavit is, in fact, as you're going to hear me explain how I know so with such certainty, the order in which investigators believe or know that the victims were sadly, their lives were taken. The point in bringing this up again is really to show that a lot of the news that has been coming about is really just, kind of recycled stuff. And the point in bringing that up is not to take away from anybody or, I don't know, like, try to play some magic tricks with illusions here. It is to remain focused on the most critical points at hand right now.
Now, I have to give Tom,
and we're going to be talking about those a lot more in about 10 minutes.
Tom and Gregory Worth, subscriber and moderator to the channel, some credit here, because they were the two people who helped to bring this issue alive during a chat the other day. So Tom N said, hey, my uncle's a judge, and he said that the order in which the counts appear when you're talking about, some same charges, murder counts, is the order in which, so sadly, the victims lost their lives. I thought, oh, wow, okay, well, I'm going to look into that. I'm not sure. I mean, I believe Tom, but I have to look into that like everything else. Then Gregory asked, I wonder if the order in which the counts appear on the charging document, is that the order that the initials are in the tattoos that Bethany and Dylan, the surviving roommates, got to remember their roommates? So we did some scrambling around, looking things up, enlarging, sharpening pictures and all that jazz. And lo and behold, they match up exactly. The tattoos, the order of the initials go like this: MKXE. Madison Kelly, Xana Ethan. In the criminal complaint, the charges go like this. The first count is felony burglary. Count 2 is the first count of first-degree murder, Madison Mogan. Count 3, the second count of first-degree murder, Kelly Gonsalves. Count 4, the third count of first-degree murder, Xana Kernodle. And count 5, the fourth count of first-degree murder, Ethan Chapin. God rest their souls, and I hope we find justice for the victims and peace for the families. So I spoke with 3 different longtime veteran reputable attorneys and just asked them this question. Hey, listen, in a criminal complaint, the order in which the counts are listed or are read, if we're talking about the same charge, hey, let's say, for example, first-degree murder, how would a judge determine the order they're read in? Or maybe the question is, how would the prosecutor or the state's representative, the investigator, or the police write the document that the judge would read? How would they list those charges? And all 3 of them said, well, it would be in the order in which they use different language, but they lost their lives. So I hit Google and some books and researched this. And what I found is this. A charging document, a criminal complaint, needs to have the following elements. The date in which the crime or crimes was allegedly committed, a written statement that includes all of the facts available that are specifically connected to the criminal charges and the particular state law or statute that the subject has supposedly violated. Now, as you go on and read literature about the charging document or the criminal complaint, the mentioning of the order in which the counts are listed are by classification of the crime, whether it be a misdemeanor or a felony, essentially in least serious or holding the least penalty to the most serious, or the crime that holds the potential for the greatest penalty, and or chronology, or a combination of both. So obviously here, count 1, felony burglary. Felony burglary compared to first-degree murder is a much less serious charge. And then because we have 4 counts of first-degree murder, those 4 counts are then listed in chronology.
Cool. All right, just give me 1 second here. I'm just doing something behind the scenes. There, okay, some music.
There are more answers than you know.
All right. All right, swinging down here. Oh, that wasn't the end of the video. No. Okay.
Four students found each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
My best friend, Kathy Mabbutt. Oh, gosh.
All right, guys. So everybody.
Okay, so I don't know where that came from. All right. Let me just stop sharing that really quick. And Agape Love, you just asked an interesting question. And have we kind of discussed that before? I don't want to pin it or even read it out loud. Okay, first of all, I'm going to get right back to that. It's bookmarked in my brain. This is a connected issue. It was brought to my attention just today. I meant to say this first thing, that there is a channel out there, a very small channel that, from what I can tell, I just did some super brief research because I don't really care about this channel, or if I do care about other channels, it's for positive reasons. I want to support them. I want to say good things about them. It's pretty much always how it is. But this channel was brought to my attention by a few concerned people who stated that this channel creator, who again just started the channel a few days ago and has just a little bit of content, almost all of it being about this case, and it's all salacious in my opinion, has put out information, has put out a video. There's like no easy way to say this. And part of the feature of the video essentially is that you're able to see Ethan Chapin, okay? So obviously I went and checked it out. Channel, you know who you are, because there's only one of you as far as I know, because it's bullshit. You are officially on notice. You can take that video down now, because when this live stream is over, or sooner than that, I'm going to be sending some messages to some people who are going to be very concerned with your content, and it better come down. It's really just like horrific stuff. It's salacious. It's not okay. Going back to Agape Love's sincere question, that has been raised as a possibility, and I just know that it is a possibility for legitimate reasons. And we're essentially talking, I don't even want to bring this up. Yeah, but yes. Okay. I'm sorry that I just skipped around there, but it's just not a topic. I don't think we should be talking about it. Hi, John McSmith. How are you doing? It's wonderful to see you. And hi, Butterfly McCoy. How are you doing? Yeah, I don't even think it's a leaked picture. I don't know, guys. It's just strange. It's not legitimate. It's clearly, to me, it's somebody's attempt at, like coming on to the true crime scene in a big way, making big splashes with really ridiculous, horrific things that aren't even true. So there we go with that. I actually just sent a text message out. So hopefully that channel has that video down, or their channel's going to probably be taken down as soon as it was put up. And I hate doing that. I love supporting true crime channels and like all other channels, and usually we'll do that. And any opportunity, but this is just not okay. So, yeah. Gosh. Yeah, 0 passes on that one. 0 passes on that one. That's just, I don't know. I thought someone had it wrong when they mentioned that this was like going around, but unfortunately they didn't. So, all right. So I'm going to stop that screen and put something else up just for a picture background. Do I ever finish my sentences? I do sometimes. I do apologize. I was just mentioning earlier in the beginning of this live stream that I hadn't done a live stream in a while. I do have a lot of things to talk about. I'll start finishing my sentences. But more importantly, I have an extremely bad cold or something, and it's hard for me to talk here, and I have a little bit of like the fuzzy cold brain, so I apologize. Oh, hey, thank you, Butterfly McCoy. I appreciate that. Oh. Psycho. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. A psycho looking for clout. Hope whoever it was is given the boot. Yeah, I know. Jeez. Edward Schwank says he finishes sentences for other people quite often. It tends to piss some people off for some reason. I don't know why that would be, Edward. You're still having buffering issues? Oh my gosh. Hey Rosie, how are you doing? I'm sorry about the buffering issues. I don't know what's going on. Everything is running as it should be on my computer. Let me just close a few things down really quickly. Then we're going to move forward with or without buffering, I guess. Edward, who do we say the buffering issues belong to? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's me. But here, let me just close a few things down. Okay, good. Yours isn't buffering anymore. Okay. Okay, so the next thing to talk about is, let's see, I have to take these headphones off. There we go. Okay, I think I can hear myself better now. Better chance of finishing my sentences. So the next thing to talk about is the surviving roommates, and particularly the surviving roommate BF, who, as far as I know, people haven't heard much from her or about her whatsoever. And that, of course, does include in the probable cause affidavit, which most of us know, it mostly focuses on surviving roommate Dylan's experience, her perspective, what she saw, the descriptions she was able to give law enforcement, a timeline of her activities and whereabouts, within that very local area of their residence, on the second floor that evening, whereas roommate Bethany is not mentioned nearly as much. The probable cause affidavit or any other, evidence or gleaning of information that we've received from law enforcement, it's not cited back to Bethany nearly as much as Dylan. So what I have learned about roommate Bethany is that, first of all, she has not been, heard from among her friend group. Let me go back a little bit. I realized that was an unfinished sentence. Strike one. The source that I'm getting this information from is, as I've mentioned, 2 University of Idaho students who I've been talking with for over 2.5 months now. If I did the math wrong, somebody please correct me and I'll correct myself. Both of these students are fraternity brothers of Ethan Chapin. We're both close friends of Ethan Chapin and Ethan's brother, Hunter, and considered themselves friends with all of the people who lived in that residence, the victims who perished and the surviving roommates alike. As I mentioned earlier in this live stream, all the information that I have received from these 2 guys who will be speaking for themselves in their own voices very soon. I promise. I know they really want to. Hopefully they will speak on this channel. I'm sure they will. Hopefully they'll speak other places too, because I know they do have some pretty big issues that they feel strongly are heard by the masses. They've been very reliable sources. So when I'm citing this seemingly nebulous information, it's not nebulous at all. The details have been gone over and over and over again. You know, the words that they use when telling me something are very deliberate. The way I am delivering the information to you is very conscientious. So it is exactly what has been told to me, and there's nothing lost in translation. So people have heard from surviving roommate Dylan. As far as these 2 guys know, people really have not heard from surviving roommate Bethany, and that includes her closest friends that they know. Are people alarmed by this? No. You know, no more than they would be in understanding that she was a roommate and she was present in the house when this horrible, horrific tragedy occurred. But apparently, you know, there is quite a bit of a divide in the amount of communication surviving roommate Dylan is keeping up with people from the university community as opposed to surviving roommate Bethany. Okay, now let me just grab my notebook here because I want to make sure I'm saying everything just right as promised. And welcome everybody who's just coming to chat. And thank you, moderators, for being awesome. Party while college. Oh. That was an interesting one. Yeah, that probably would be a little weird, but, you know, probably in this situation, I'm imagining, you know, God, I mean, if I were the parent, I would just be thinking, well, hey, you know, assuming you're not talking about one of the victims in that comment, well, hey, man, I'm so happy that my child's alive, you know, really obviously put things in perspective. Let me just grab that note. Okay, so who was it that made the call to 911? So as Ashley Banfield had reported in that little bit that I played some clips from just a few minutes ago, yes, it was Ethan Chapin's best friend, as we talked about a few weeks ago, I think in the last live stream and the live stream before that. The people that reported to the house to 1122 King Road before the 911 call was made, and yes, it was before the 911 call was made, was a total of 6 people. There were 2 guys, and we know who they are at this point. One of them is Ethan Chapin's brother. The other is Ethan Chapin's best friend, whose name I'm just choosing not to use. And the other 4 people who came to the residence prior to the 911 call being made were 4 females. And yes, they did have sorority affiliations to the roommates. So it was something I've learned that I don't know if it's come out in any other news source or media or Ashley Banfield or Fox News or anywhere else. It was Dylan's phone that was used to call 911. She did not make the call. It was Ethan Chapin's best friend who made the call. So as Ashley Banfield reported in the clip that I just played a little while ago, she got most of the details correct, except for the two students from the University of Idaho, who are Ethan Chapin's fraternity brothers, who have been these really great sources of solid information and they're just really like solid guys, said they took issue. They were angered by the fact that, oh no, you guys can't hear me, can you? Crap. Oh no. No. You're not going to silence me, powers that be. No. That was really freaking crazy timing. I will show you the screenshots I took of what happened. That's actually never happened on this computer, which is alarming because I already had one. Anyway. Wow. Gosh. First time here and it breaks. No, Marchie, that was like very strange timing, but welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to get right back to what I was saying before something else explodes. Let me get back to what I was saying. So, okay. So in the clip that we played earlier in this live stream, it was Ashley Banfield's reporting on the person who called 911, who was Ethan Chapin's best friend, sadly. It was 2 guys and 4 girls that were there at the residence before 911 was called. One thing that was not accurate in that reporting that really got these 2 guys, as I refer to them, upset was the statement about Ethan's pulse being taken. Ethan's pulse apparently was not taken. And the way that I describe it to you was what you would already imagine, what I would have already imagined, unless I thought, oh, well, maybe I was thinking of things wrong. Maybe they would have actually thought there was a reason to take his pulse, which I don't think would have been my first instinct, but it was very obvious that a pulse didn't need to be taken and or couldn't easily be taken. So that's something that they want me to correct, that it just, I don't know, details like that. I think you can imagine, let's put ourselves in their shoes. And, somebody who's near and dear to you is murdered in this horrible, god awful way. And, people are talking about it all over the place because that's human nature. And if it were me, I think I would try to not be so bothered by that, because what I do with my life is try to understand human nature as a person. Obviously, I think we all do that personally. And in my professional career and here on this true crime channel, as we discuss things, I think what we're really doing is, understanding one another, human behavior, and pathological human behavior, right? But you can certainly understand how things like that could really upset somebody who was close to the victims. Why do you keep saying, person on a cable news network, and he took their pulse, and he took their pulse, and he took their pulse, and he took their pulse. I think in that one broadcast, it was said 6 times in a matter of like 90 seconds or 2 minutes, when it wasn't true. So their point is, why, news network, media, YouTubers, whoever it may be, why add details to a story that is unfolding and will continue to unfold when, as we all know here, the details that exist, that are facts, that are real, are enough, guys. They're enough. It's the story. It's the history of the last moments of 4 lives and many more lives that will be forever changed by this horrific event that happened. I think I understand, or I can at least relate to why it really bothers them when people add details to the facts as they already exist. It just doesn't need to be done, right? So, all right. Let's see. Fingerprints on, let's see. Rock Like a Cop says, because that could mean his fingerprints are on Ethan. It's so weird to bring that in, especially if it's a lie. Yeah, I mean, I feel very confident that it's not accurate. I mean, maybe the people reporting it thought that it was accurate information. I mean, I don't know what their sources were. It has never been clear to me what the sources are for News Nation right now, which is, something that, I personally am really struggling with, just on this little YouTube channel where unfortunately, the standard that I am held to, or the bar for me to disclose, my sources of any information, or any YouTuber, I'm just saying me because I'm trying to not talk about other people, but my sources of information, I don't have to disclose anything. Obviously, we're seeing plenty of YouTubers doing it. You can just get on your YouTube channel and say whatever the fuck you want, and it's going to fly. And unless you are a professor from University of Idaho who filed a lawsuit against a primarily TikToker who was, just really kind of psychotic in the way she was going after this professor, that, I have read the criminal complaint. I fully believe this professor had nothing to do with these crimes, that she did not even know the victims. So unless you're that person in that situation, you can say whatever you want and get away with it. I think in mainstream media, and when you're talking about journalists who are journalists by profession, somebody like Ashley Banfield, or, any number of them, I think to go for a month stint of coming out with this news that you're calling breaking news time and time and time again, whether it is or not, doesn't even matter, without giving a nod to a legitimate source for that whole 1 month run, I think is a little weird. I think it's not the best way to do things. I just don't like it. I don't know. Sorry, I just went off on a little tangent there. And these people obviously don't either. They have more of a reason to not like it than I do, but it doesn't speak well for the entire cause. And the cause that I'm talking about is the cause of truth and justice when it comes to, deciphering what has happened in these horrific true crimes. Okay. Brian Hoffman says, I'm concerned for Justin. Who is Justin? Double R, hi, if you're out there, sweetie. Sent me a video about this Justin person, and I don't even know who this Justin person is. Can somebody please enlighten me on that, by the way? Let's see. Yeah, I know. I can thank you, Rosie. I appreciate that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if quality is not that great. I don't yeah. Let's see. It was okay. Agape Love says, it was said that BF is allegedly in protective custody. Okay. So these are some of the things. So people have started to come out talking about that roommate as well. So apparently, no, she is not in protective custody. Apparently, let's just say she's not the University of Idaho. I don't know. I didn't ask if I could say where it's believed she is. And nobody even knows, as I had mentioned, because nobody has heard from her. She really has just, she's just really gone quiet. One can surmise a number of different reasons after what happened. And yes, she has gone through an absolutely horrendous trauma, but people haven't heard from her. So going back to the 911 call. So it was a total of 6 students who arrived at 1122 King Road before the 911 call was made. It was 2 guys, 4 girls. The 4 females did, yes, have sorority affiliations. with the surviving roommates sorority. Yes, I said correctly. So the call went out on Dylan's phone. It was made by Ethan Chapin's best friend. It was not on surviving roommates Bethany's phone. And in fact, Bethany was not involved in the whole chaotic scene on that morning, the morning of November 13th, in the late 11 a.m. hours, moving right up until noon when the 911 call was made at 11:58. She was not even really looped in on anything or part of the scene as these guys know it to be. They've heard this firsthand from Hunter Chapin, Ethan's brother, and the other person who was Ethan Chapin's best friend, who did discover him and made the 911 call. She arrived on the scene much later than everybody else. She wasn't really much part of the chaos. So it does seem that she, and we're talking about surviving roommate Bethany, really was removed from, kind of the horror and drama. I mean, she wasn't removed from it, my gosh. She wasn't as in the middle of it as surviving roommate Dylan was. Excuse me. Let me just take a drink here. Yeah, great statement here. Totally. We need more transparency and more truth and accountability. Absolutely. Yeah, this is a big problem. I'm just going to read a couple comments here, then get back to what we're talking about. I have my place in the timeline here. The problem is people care about views and money more than the truth and sensitivity to victims and families. And, that is true. And, this is true. Hey, Double R. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. I did watch that video. I've just been very confused by who is Justin. American Princess is done with Justin. Kathy, Justin's not. This is a different Justin than the Justin who was covering the Watts case, correct? Yeah, I watched that video, Double R, and it just cut off at this weird place. I couldn't understand what was going on. Who the hell is Justin? Oh my gosh. Our pal Enon. That's Justin. It's the same guy. Oh, I can't even with this. I don't know if any of these people are important to what happened. Let's see. Okay. So Rosie says, FYI, Justin is J. Rod Speaks. He made outlandish video. He seems to be hiding out right now. Okay. I understand that. Thank you, Rosie. I get that now. Okay. Hey, Muck Boys. How are you doing? Welcome. I'm trying to finish my sentences. Okay. Jennifer asks, so was she even home that morning? Yes, she was home that morning. So here's the thing. So let's look at it from the perspective of surviving roommates Bethany's, her involvement with the roommates who were victims, or this whole crazy Saturday night into Sunday morning into Sunday, right? Of course, she had a lot of interaction with the whole situation. She lived in the house. These roommates were friends of hers. She was very close with certain roommates. She was very close with Maddie. She was very, very good friends with Maddie. And Dylan was very good friends with Maddie. Maddie apparently was the person in the house who seemed to be the most connective tissue. She was friends with everybody. all of the roommates who were living there at the time really liked her, really got along with her. There weren't really any issues among them for Maddie's attention. You know how that can happen when you're a college girl. So yeah, just everybody tended to be very good friends with Maddie. She just seemed like I don't know, she seems like a cool girl to me. Seems like a pretty level-headed, bright young woman she was. So tragic her life ended, my gosh. And I could see that, a lot of people were attracted to being friends with her. She seemed like in my opinion, and what do I know? This is just from watching some videos and talking to people. But she comes off to me as being the kind of person who'd be easy to be friends with. You know what I mean? So, okay. So Jennifer's question. So was she even there that morning? So apparently surviving roommate Bethany went to the fraternity party with Ethan and Xana, and she was there with them for most of the evening, even though early on and for a long time, law enforcement was touting that there was this, huge gap in Ethan and Xana's timeline from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Huge gap in the timeline. Apparently, that was not the case. Apparently, surviving roommate Bethany was with them or I should say, at least at the same party that they were at, and she went to that party with them for almost that entire time, meaning the time period where law enforcement was claiming there was a gap in the timeline from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. and also more specifically even an hour earlier than that from 8 p.m. till about 1:45 a.m. So she was with them consistently. She knew where they were the whole time. She was part of, the group that they were hanging out with. Okay, so then everybody goes home. Ethan and Xana, were in Xana's room. Apparently, surviving roommate Bethany went downstairs to the first floor to her bedroom, went almost immediately to sleep, or so people, I guess, assumed. And she didn't come back on the scene the next morning until at least some of the 6 students who showed up at the residence prior to the 911 call being made were at the house. So it was not like this. Dylan and Bethany are like, oh my gosh, like something is super weird here. Like, what is that? Whatever it was they were sensing. There were smells, there were sights, there were a lot of things in that house that could have easily have told them something horrible had happened, right? So, oh my gosh, what's like going on? This is out of place. Where's this person? We don't hear this person's voice. Hey, last night, did you hear this strange noise? And yeah, you know what? I did hear that strange noise. Nothing happened like that. Apparently, what did happen was Dylan being alarmed by, what we know she saw and heard through the probable cause affidavit, and we also know a little bit more. I am still, and I've been trying really hard to get a clear, explanation of what happened between the hours of 4:17 a.m. and 11:58 a.m., those 8 hours when 911 wasn't called. And that picture is definitely not clear to me. I know everybody is trying to get clarity on that picture. But the people who were called to the house were called there by Dylan. Dylan was the one who was active on the scene. It was Dylan's phone that was used. And apparently Bethany didn't come back on the scene till the number that I was given was about 10 to 15 minutes before 911 was called. No, she was home. She was home. I believe this is what I was told, that she was downstairs on the first floor during, from about 1:45 till, let's say, 11:45, for the sake of, just calling it a number. For those 10 hours, she was possibly in her bedroom somewhere on the first floor by herself, and she wasn't really a part of what was going on. So she was at the residence, she was there, but she just, I don't know, is she a heavy sleeper? I could easily sleep for 10 hours. Are you kidding me? Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, let me get down to the current comments. I'm sorry, guys. They were all in that photo that was posted that day. Let's see. Who do you mean by, I just want to be clear on this. So who is they all that were in the photo that was posted that day? So you mean Dylan, Bethany, Ethan, and Xana? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. Huh. Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting. Okay, this is something I was going to talk about last live stream and we never got around to it. US Kiwi 1986 says, I heard it was considered Xana's house. That's interesting. So apparently it was starting to go that way. I mentioned to you guys some information that was passed along to me that I never did follow back up on, and I can touch on it, a little bit now, having to do with Xana and Dylan, and then Xana and Ethan. So apparently, as I described to you guys before, it was described to me by those two guys. When Xana would have a couple drinks, she would become very social, very outgoing, very fun-loving. The way that they described it to me, it truly was not in a negative way at all. It was, kind of like, oh, it's so cute. She was really fun. Everybody liked her, social butterfly. And I think that other people have said this about her too, right? I've just been trying to stay focused on what I'm hearing from these two guys, my sources, because, I want to represent their perspective and tell you guys what they're saying. So sometimes I have to shut other things out or it gets a little confusing. Not confusing, but I don't want things to get diluted. Anyhow, so she would have a tendency to have a few drinks and say they would be, at their house and say, oh, hey, and why don't you come over again tomorrow? I'm going to have a party, tomorrow. And maybe tomorrow night was supposed to be a night when the roommates had agreed, because they would do this because they were all serious about their futures, apparently. And I think that everything we know about them, supports that statement. They would have certain nights when they would decide, they weren't going to have people over. They would even have no boyfriend nights, so they could focus on their, girl roommate bonding, or more likely their studies. And, Xana would maybe ignore that rule because she'd had a few drinks. She was a little buzzed. She was having fun. She was excited. She didn't want the party to end. So, hey, let's do this again tomorrow night, kind of thing. Apparently the one roommate who had the most issue with this was Dylan. But I want to be clear about this. And this was described to me in very clear terms, so I didn't mess it up in speaking about it. Because sorry guys, it's like cold. I gotta take another drink. As I mentioned before, it's very important to these guys that Dylan is represented correctly on this channel. And I understand why now, especially just due to things that I've seen myself and some of the comments I'm reading from you guys right now, like in real time, about the things that people have said about her. They're just awful. So let me just set the record straight from their perspective. They say she is absolutely one of the sweetest people that they know. She was definitely like the sweetest person who lived in that house. And they both made a point of saying, not to say that all of them were, really nice, sweet people, but Dylan was especially kind of, endearing. She was very quiet. We had a discussion, and the content of it basically was like, we felt that maybe people thought she wasn't the quiet one because she was the tallest one. She just kind of, physically, I mean, she was in like wonderful shape. She's a beautiful person, but she was like physically a little like more imposing than the other roommates, who were maybe like a little smaller or something, which might give people this idea that she has this brutish personality. But they said that, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, she was a little bit shy. She was a little bit hesitant around the other roommates. They believe that she felt like, almost like not as good as them for some reason. And remember, we're talking about 20 and 21-year-old girls here. I think most of us can relate to having those experiences, feelings, and emotions when we were younger, like in college, right? Certainly. And oops. So when she was upset with Xana for overstepping their agreed upon bounds so they could maintain an environment within that house where they could have fun and still be successful in schoolwork and their future endeavors, she had a really hard time expressing this to Xana. She had talked to some other friends about it, not in a gossipy way, but in a sincerely like, I don't want to upset her, but like I'm getting really anxious because I have these big exams. And apparently there were 2 courses that she was taking that were pretty challenging. One was like really, really challenging, and she had real concerns about it. And apparently this ended up getting in Ethan's ear. This made Ethan concerned that maybe Xana was partying a little too much. This is all stuff that goes on among college students, right? Or people in general. And it was just that very night, that Saturday night, on their way to the fraternity party, and a little bit while they were at the fraternity party, they had a little, not like argument about it, but they were exchanging some words about it. Or Ethan was kind of talking to Xana about his, relatively small concern. And apparently that night was the first time anything like that had happened between Ethan and Xana. Normally they were just like super lovey-dovey, happy-go-lucky, no real issues to speak of, like 100% of the time, according to the people that I got that information from. Because obviously I would have, been honored to know them, but I did not have the pleasure of knowing them. Jerry definitely needs to go to the house. Oh, that's a really good point. That also means, let me just get some comments here. I just want to make sure that I'm being clear in everything that I'm saying. This means DM didn't even care to check on Bethany to tell her about what happened. I mean, that's you know what? I'm going to very specifically ask that exact question. Just a second here. I didn't think to ask a question that was that clarifying. That's why you guys are awesome. But that was the clear impression I got. It means didn't. What's the timestamp? Okay. Good question. I'll find out. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we can say yes. Um, um, yeah, Rock like a cop says, wasn't Ethan supposed to be at a study group that morning, but he didn't show, so they started looking for him. Yes, that's true. My understanding is, and I'm going to ask about that too. That is all. That's yes, and that is separate from the people who were called to the house and the little scurrying around that was going on at the house just before the 911 call was made. And another thing, another point they wanted me to very strongly make if possible, so I'm going to take this opportunity here to highlight it, that these 6 people that did show up at the house before the 911 call was made, it was not hours before. They were saying they don't know an exact time, but we kind of agreed that using the amount of time, 15 minutes before, would be pretty fair and accurate. Okay, so that's the information. Yeah, and so then Jennifer Griffith also says no one checked on Bethany to make sure that she was okay. That seems odd. They didn't check on her during that time and wake her up. Well, maybe that's what happened. And I mean, yeah, this is why you guys are just brilliant and wonderful. I'm going to get more clarification on that too. Maybe that is what happened because I don't know. And given everything that was being discussed, I guess it didn't feel super important to me how it was that Bethany eventually arrived on the scene of the group of students who was very soon thereafter in shock and mourning. But it is important, of course, how she arrived there, and her experience is important. I just didn't think to ask for further clarification. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I saw you make this point earlier. Brian says, but what was so awful was the 4 in the middle are deceased. The 2 on each side are alive. Just blew my mind, just blew me away. I heard you talking, or I read your comments when you were talking about that earlier. That, yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading some comments here. And the people that I'm talking to, by the way, yes, I have seen them. I don't know if that's what you were asking, but yes, I have. Yes, I have for sure. I've seen the words coming out of their mouths. So Rock Like a Cop says that was a pre-football game photo. I thought they were all going to the game. Now, was that Saturday night? That was Saturday night, right? So Brian says, I'm wondering if Bethany was not there, but just came back the next day. So what do you mean by that? So I do know she was definitely at the fraternity party that Saturday night for a significant period of time. And she went back to the house and she slept there. Yeah. I mean, I'm not questioning that she was there. I just am like thinking she was sleeping. Invisible, I don't know, says, how would the surviving roommates know the order when they got those tattoos? I don't know. And I know I put that video out and we made a point of that. And we kind of, realize all that on this channel. I don't know how significant it is, what the significance is. It's just interesting. I do want to make a correction to that point. So what we're talking about is the initials of the victims as they appear in the order that they are on the matching tattoos that Dylan and Bethany both got to memorialize them, I guess. MKXE. That order is the same as the order that the charges are read in the probable cause affidavit or the charging document. You can find this in a couple different sources. The charges are charge 1, felony burglary. Count 2, first degree murder, Maddie Mogan. Charge 3, first degree murder, Kelly Gonsalves. And then Xana, and then Ethan. It's the same order every time. The order the initials appear on the tattoos is the same as the order that the charges are listed, which we found out indicates the order in which the charges are listed is the order in which the victims lost their lives in the state of Idaho. Oh, I'm sorry. And when you remove the possibility of letters repeating, like there can't be 2 M's, there can't be 2 K's, right? There has to be 1 K, 1 M, 1 E, 1 X. That's a total of 24 possibilities of combinations of letters. Originally, when I was just first thinking about it on this channel, I said it would be a total of 360 possibilities, but that would be if letters could, appear more than once. But I don't know if we want to go too deep down that one. Yeah. But we want to know about that day when they got there and saw a dope. Okay, hold on. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, let me go back a little bit and try to stay focused on the information I'm learning from these guys, because this is really the important stuff I have to present to you. So yeah. Yeah, Brian. No, there was a lot of Molly going on in the house. That's something I had also been had been disclosed to me. I don't think it's a secret, but that was the thing of choice, and apparently that's, as far as these guys know, that's like mostly all it was. Yeah, and Brian says coming down from Molly is like really crap. Like you really got to sleep. Yes, that's true. That's very true. Let's see. Edward Schwang says, I still say they should find 12 YouTubers to sit on the jury so BK would get a fair trial, then decide what to do when he's found guilty. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Tenant floor, nothing new. Party house. How far am I behind in the comments here? Oh, and it's also true that there was, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting little details here. Okay, it's also true that the night before, so we're talking about the Friday night now, okay? So not the Saturday night, like immediately preceding the tragedy, but now we're talking about the Friday night. So that would be November 11th. There was a really big party at the house. Yes, that is true. With more people than they would normally ever have. And apparently that was largely due to Xana's habit of, just liking people and wanting them to come over, I feel like I definitely know people like her. And so it was actually on that Friday night when that party got a little like out of hand as far as the number of people that were there, and also specifically the people who were there. Apparently some of them, like, nobody knew who had invited them and just figured, oh, it's probably Xana. And then ultimately people weren't sure if some of the people were invited, which in some ways was okay because it was one of those party houses in the Greek community in a college town. But, in some ways it wasn't okay because, if it's like all people, you've seen at the food court and you've seen at the football game, but you're not really sure who invited them. And do we really know these guys really well? It's cool. We've seen them at the football game. They're vandals. But apparently on this night, it was like, we're not sure where they're from. Which, obviously since 36 hours, this horrific quadruple homicide was committed, that definitely raises some big questions, red flags, and hopefully law enforcement is all freaking over that. Like, my God, I certainly hope so. Hey, Aussie girl, how are you doing, sweetie? I was just thinking about you. Oh, hey, Ara. I've been looking to tag you, darling, and I didn't realize your name changed. So great to see you. Hey, everybody. Ara is now with Ara R, and she is reminding you to please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Thank you, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ellie. Thanks. This is interesting. Now, I heard this too, but not from those two guys. I'll ask them about that because they haven't mentioned this. I heard this too, but I can't remember if it was from where. Do you know where you heard this? So, and welcome. How are you doing? I heard Ethan's alarm on his phone was set for 10 a.m. and it kept going off. Oh, I hadn't heard this one. This is very interesting. So Vero says, Xana's father had talked to Ethan about his concerns about addiction running in their family. He had asked Ethan to keep an eye on his daughter. Gosh, it's funny. Like, I was just saying all that about Xana. It never once occurred to me what we do know about her family history with addiction. I mean, that's a very important and serious point. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Wow. Agape Love asks, how many think it will make it to trial? It could be over after the preliminary, I think. I really do not know. I hope it does. I hope it goes to trial. What do you guys think? Is this going to go to trial? Randy Hansen says that he knows I trust my sources, but they really aren't telling me anything. In fact, they're saying less. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of what I think about it. I've given it a lot of thought. And like I said, you know, I've talked to them a lot. What we discuss that, I'll be discussing is very specific and the words are very intentional. And then I choose my words very intentionally. Not in a way where things are contrived. It's just intentional, right? There's some things that, it's just is not going to be discussed on YouTube right now. And for good reason. But I don't think it's that they're saying less. I think that they are not sensationalizing things. I think that they are telling things exactly like they are. They're not trying to like frost that cupcake or put any sprinkles on it. And, when we're a true crime community who, our minds tend to sometimes naturally gravitate towards conspiracy theories where there's underworlds and drug lords and nefarious things everywhere, and also fairies. It's like crazy stuff, guys. We think of some crazy shit. Like, let's be real. In comparison to that, like, it's definitely not fancy, but I think that's the point. And as far as I personally am concerned, and as far as, the channel's stance on things, I just want to stick as closely to the truth and the facts always as possible. And if that means that it's not like, dressed up like a pig in a prom gown wearing, pink lady lipstick, like, I'm okay with that. That's my take on it. I mean, maybe you're right, Randy, and maybe I'm missing something, but before I even mentioned I was talking to these people, I had been talking to them for well over a month before I even casually mentioned it. Before I decided I was going to talk about this, this has been a really big, like, ethical, moral question for me. I considered it very carefully. I will tell you more about it, when I can, like, very soon. And again, the details aren't super fancy or anything, but, I feel confident in what I'm telling you. Huh. Hey, Heather, how are you doing? Heather says, I find it odd they didn't check on the other roommates, including BF, once they saw Ethan or Xana, or did they? Never any mention of Kaylee and Maddie regarding the 911 call. Very good point. My understanding is that they did not go upstairs to check on, well, I don't know. I don't want to say it like that. My understanding is they did not go up to the third floor. Why? Maybe they were so horrified they just knew they had to call 911 and get help there immediately. Maybe they were scared with somebody still in there. Probably their parasympathetic nervous system took over and chose one of the 5 F's: fawn, fight, flight, friend, or what's the other one? Flop. Did I say flop? Anyway, I made a video about it. And they didn't really have a choice as to what they did after they found Ethan. You know what I mean? But it is definitely worth considering and asking. Yeah. Yeah, and Tony says, being on the bottom floor, Bethany may not have heard much, in my opinion. That's how I've been thinking about it. Hey, Arlene, how are you? Arlene Wiley says, they had a hearing on February 10th, which we never heard about. it was virtual, and the defense asked for all of the info. They don't want any surprises, said it could be resolved quicker. So actually that was, they were requesting the pre-discovery files that I think would be normal to request, right? And there were also some issues surrounding gag orders. So I think I did hear about that, unless I think so. I don't know. If I'm wrong, let me know. Yeah, no, Jennifer says, thanks, Jen. That's exactly why I was asking. Thought it was really odd detail about Bethany not being notified if she was just downstairs in her room on the first floor. So again, I don't know if she was not notified. I don't know how she eventually got in the mix of like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? Just shortly before the 911 call was made. I don't know how she folded into that mix. I do not know. It's the first question I'm going to ask though after this live stream, and then I'll follow up, with answers. I'll do another live stream in a couple days. Aussie Jen says, in my heart, I feel that the kids were so used to a ton of noise and action, fun, hazing each other, etc., that the surviving girls didn't understand the danger. My sense is you sound pretty spot on with that, Aussie Jen. I think you very well stated kind of the impression that I've been under about what was up for those girls, Gregory Worth says, so do your sources know where Dylan went based on the wording in the PCA where it suggests that she left her room at some point? I do not know that. And I'm going to ask that question more directly. I kind of have tried to ask that question, Gregory, actually like exactly how you worded it, but I get a little nervous sometimes. I don't want to ask a question or say something that's just like inconsiderate or insensitive or offensive. And it's not because like, oh, I don't want to lose this source of information. I truly these people are, have really opened up their hearts. They've confided a lot of things, and I just want to handle things right. And sometimes I just feel like a little nervous. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's such a sensitive matter, and emotions are, I cannot even imagine being so close to this situation. But I'm just going to ask the question directly and see if I get an answer that we don't know about, or that we do. Hey, Joan, how are you doing? Says, I got a question. So Bethany has been MIA, but her and Dylan have since gotten tattoos. I think that I think they got the tattoos like right after this happened. And I think that it was after that Bethany has been MIA. But according to these two guys, like Bethany has for sure been MIA. And I mean, that's all I know about that, because it's from what they say, that's all that there is to know. I mean, who knows what she's hearing from her family? Who knows what kind of PTSD she is dealing with? Who knows? I don't know. I've tried to really like think about it. Like, what would I probably do? I don't know. I don't think I would go back there. Like, would you guys? I could very easily understand wanting to get the hell away from there. And I don't know. I could understand any reaction one of those roommates would have, but so no chains, no more says also that Exhibit A will remain sealed as it poses imminent danger to law enforcement and the public. That was in the February 10th hearing too. So, and I was confused about exactly what Exhibit A was. It seemed like it was some electronic data. Is that correct? Based on what we could learn from the February 10th hearing and the ones that have happened so far, and the requests for the pre-trial discovery and all of that, I have not been seeing the quantity and quality of digital forensic data that I know exists from covering these cases, that you would suspect would exist in this case with, let's see, 4 victims plus at least 2 surviving roommates in the house and their cell phones. So we have at least 6 cell phones worth of data, plus Koberger's, plus any other smart devices that may have been on the person's person or in the residence, like an Alexa or an Apple Watch or something like that. I mean, there's got to be a ton of digital data. Huh. Jennifer says, I live in a major college town in PA. I went to a major college in PA. I wonder what it is. And believe me, you don't have to wear university colors and go to the game. I mean, it's literally crazy at all the bars and sports near campus. Yeah, no, yeah. Yes, Aaron Gobra says, I believe they had the tattoos around the time of the memorial, correct? Yes, I believe that's correct too. Randy says, Kelly, have your sources revealed to you anything that you can't talk about? And what do they say about Bethany's personality? We have talked about things that I either can't talk about or I have chosen that I'm not going to talk about for various reasons right now. And this is stuff that everybody, I'm sure will learn, and maybe, when other sources also put their 2 cents in, I'm sure it'll make an even more complete picture. But now remember, okay, when I first explained the situation, and for these guys even to want to put a message out there or to say anything on their own or to say anything through a channel or whatever the case may be, it was a really big decision. Because remember, this all started out less than a month ago, at least as far as me starting to really talk about it in a direct way on this channel, with them finally deciding that they were going to have to break that gentleman's agreement that they feel they are under in the university community, in some cases, that virtually every person in that community is under in some way, and also the formal agreements and or arrangements that they are part of, given the formal organizations that they are affiliated with, like the fraternity. Students aren't supposed to be talking. People in the victims' fraternities and sororities are definitely not supposed to be talking. It's known, and it is also official. So for them, it was a really big deal to make that decision. And what pushed them over the edge was Well, I mean, it was one specific thing. And, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Please, it's not specifically about this person or any channel that hosted this person. But when that woman, Kim, went on some channels and spoke out and told a story that they maintain is unequivocally inaccurate, false, and made up, that really pushed them over the edge and feeling as though they needed to speak out about some things, or the alternative was that they were disrespecting the victims and the people that they loved and lost in this tragedy. So even when I was talking to them up until that point, which was regularly, it wasn't with the intention of, you know, getting these little bits of information, because eventually I'm going to talk about these little bits of information on my YouTube channel. It was just, we just developed like a friendship almost. And then it's just, you know, this, and it's simple. But the answer is yes, there are some things I can't talk about, and there are some things I'm choosing not to talk about right now, for my own personal, moral, ethical reasons. So Vero says, biohazard blood saturated in the floor, insulation, interior, exterior walls, fiberglass, foundation. Does everyone remember the blood on the foundation outside of the house? Of course, yes. You bring up that picture. Just give me a moment, please. Oops. What is that? Where is that picture? It's saved several places, I'm sure. Maybe not. Hmm. It's weird. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Oh. Play this with different something here. Sorry, guys. I'm just checking out something here. I'm trying to get to play. Oh, what the heck? It's weird. Oh, think I know what happened. Darn it, that was so bizarre, guys, when my computer just, I don't know. That was really weird. But I think when that happened, this didn't finish cooking. Just 1 second. Darn it. Oh, that's such a bummer. That was a really inopportune time for that to happen to my computer. Wow. Jennifer Norris says, so we're BF and DM with Ethan and Xana at the party. Bethany was with them. Dylan was not with that whole group for the whole evening. Oh, that was a question you asked a long time ago. Let me get to current times. Oh, this is, yeah. Let's see. Adjusted Fate, welcome. How are you doing? Says, what about some important information that matters? Like, did these guys know or ever see Koberger around? One of them says, no, definitely not. And the other one says, he thinks he may have seen him around. But he's not 100% sure. So I'm sorry. The answer on that one is ambiguous and not agreed on between the two people. I think that they really need to think about that, though, because that is an important question. You're right. You said, Jennifer says, this is the first time I'm hearing about the substance angle. Excuse me. You've been following the case from jump. Where are these sources being vetted from? Well, I can tell you the sources are being vetted as well as I and a couple other people who are helping me vet them can, like being reasonable, just normal human beings and not having like a law enforcement reason to vet them. I feel pretty certain about I feel pretty certain about that. And I don't think what they have said about that is a big deal at all. The only reason I even brought that up, and the only reason they wanted to bring that up, was because people were starting to say these crazy things like, this house was, doing like major trades, major sales, major, super illegal and nefarious things that would have put them in a position to possibly be in danger. And the whole, and I can't believe you haven't heard all of this conjecture. The whole motivation behind this horrible crime was due to the substance trade, and then bringing in victims' family members and, super out of control stuff. Or I don't think I would have mentioned it at all. Hey, Karen G, how are you? Yeah, ooh, this is a tough one. Mark Thompson says, or I'm sorry, Thomason says, so far haven't seen any real evidence to convince beyond a reasonable doubt. Now that's scary, but hey, here's the good news. We're not in a trial. So hopefully if this does go to a trial, the state's attorneys are going to have a lot of information that is very well prepared and well organized beyond our wildest imagination that is going to convince a jury well beyond a reasonable doubt. I can only hope and pray that that is in fact the case. Hey GT, how are you? Have you watched the 11/22 daytime body cams from both views? I personally have, yes. Why are you asking? I'm very interested. Did I miss something? I agree with that, Lauren. That's, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What about page 16 of the PCA? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, right. Lauren Q says, true crime can be crazy, though. This case is crazy that one guy was able to do this, allegedly. That, you know, that really is mind boggling. Brian, what do you mean by the cell tower pings are wrong? I've been preparing some material focusing on the cell tower pings because it's one of my areas. What do you mean they're wrong? Huh, that's interesting. Well, thank you for allowing me to watch your channel. Thank you for being here. I don't think that's sensationalized. Good, because I don't want to be that. I do think that they did not investigate all possibilities and they just picked him out. What makes you say that? You know, I personally believe that there's a lot that we probably do not know about the nature, depth, and details of their investigation. In fact, I hope that that is the case. So I think that there really is a lot when I'm thinking about this case that is just beyond my scope of knowledge. And I hope that's the case. So Mark Thomason says, I've read the PCA. Nothing in it proves to me that he did it. They can say whatever they want, but present nothing. Show me the money, right? Well, I get you. And I had that same sense at first, but listen, I've said this time and time again on this channel, and we really do need to remember this. The sole purpose of the probable cause affidavit is to prompt a judge to sign a warrant for the apprehension and arrest of the perpetrator so they do not harm anyone else and to get the wheel of justice starting to turn, right? So that is the limited and exclusive purpose of the PCA. One would hope in a case like this that they didn't put all of their eggs in the PCA basket, that they have a lot more to work with than what would the information that was put forward for the purpose of getting a judge to sign the warrant for the arrest and attainment of this person so he doesn't commit more horrible crimes, right? Hmm. What are you guys talking about? Same underage guys also on cam at this and that and the other thing. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, Vero, I'm actually a little worried that the PCA had too much unnecessary information as well. And, the two attorneys that I've talked to about this case, no, I guess one of them had made that remark, but I guess we'll see. I hope we're wrong. Oh, Brian. Okay. Well, we'll talk about this another time with the pings. Okay, I gotcha. All right. That makes sense. Hmm. Adam is a frat brother. Hmm. Your lady love bug is being so cute and noisy. That's funny. So Agape Love, which fraternity are you talking about? You said the fraternity was peeved at Xana and Maddie, saying that they had big mouths. Are you talking about Sigma Chi? Yeah, Krista. Yeah. So Watts, I have true crime Discord. Can I share the email to apply it here? Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Awesome. I can't wait to check it out. My friend's grandson. All right. So, we're talking about, stereotypes about sororities and fraternities. As I've told you guys, I am a tried and true Delta, Delta, Delta. Can I help you, help you, help it? Try Delta proudly. Yes, I am. And the college I went to was very big into Greek life. I'm still waiting for this video to re-upload now that that weird computer thing happened. Let me check on that. Yeah, because I just want to share something with you, but I would like to do it in this video if it would hurry up. So here, I'm going to bring something into the stream. Okay, so I can't play the volume on this because it's a rap song and YouTube simply won't have it. But I want to, so this is, let me share first. This is a video of the field days from, Ethan's fraternity. So you can just go ahead and watch it if you haven't seen it yet. I really wish I could play the music with it because it's just so much, it's more entertaining that way. I think it's on my channel with the music, but I can't do it in a live stream. YouTube will just basically take it down. But then I want to show you some things that are featured in the video too. No, Randy, I didn't say that. So Randy says, so BF was there, but out of the loop. Did the 5 others hang out on the second floor before noticing anything? Seriously? No, I think it was more like this. Dylan was the one who is, bringing calling people over, calls to action. She was the one who was alarmed. I just think Bethany was downstairs. I don't think she'd come upstairs yet. Dylan had called some people over. I think once they arrived there, things very quickly started to be realized and started to happen, which led very quickly to the 911 call being made. I don't think they were just like hanging out playing Yahtzee. It wasn't like that at all. So I just don't want to give the wrong impression. No, okay. Randy says, think about that for a minute. 6 people are present when the 911 call was made. BF was out of the loop. Did the other 5 cook breakfast on the second floor and notice nothing? Nobody cooked breakfast. By the time the 911 call was made, Bethany was present. How long does it take to make a 911 call? Think about that. So, we said maybe it was a 15-minute period of time when the people were starting to be called over. They quickly realized what happened. Bethany was aware that something was happening and she was there as well. And then just, things started to precipitate obviously very quickly from there. And it was an American tragedy. So I'm not sure what's confusing about that. If I'm not being clear enough, please let me know. I know I'm still confused about this, Brandy. I get it. And like I said, I have been a little nervous to ask the direct questions, but I'm just going to because, if she wasn't scared at night when she heard the sounds, then she was scared enough to call friends to check the house. I don't completely understand everything either. Definitely not. Hey, Keshik, how are you? Aw, nice to see you. Oh, so what I wanted to point out to this in the video here is, well, yeah, they're shaving their heads because they're, pledging to fraternities, and especially guys who are pledging to fraternities do crazy things. But this fraternity and also the sorority, well, both sororities that the female roommates were in, I was checking them out online when in my sorority Delta at my university. When I was a junior, I was the philanthropy chair. It was one of the offices I held. And our philanthropy had to do with, well, we had 2. One was for breast cancer and one was for St. Jude's. And we held all kinds of events and raised shitloads of money for these causes and really freaking helped people. And that was, the power of our big sorority behind it. This fraternity and the sororities that all of the female roommates were involved with had really big philanthropic pushes and initiatives. And I do just want to say that because I think that, some people have, in their minds that, keg stands and anything else I want to say, I can't say on my channel. So bad things happening. But it's not all of that. It's really not. I don't believe it is. I know it was not in my experience or at my university, and I believe it to be the same here. Yes, bad things do happen for sure, but the math ain't mathing. I like that. No, I gotcha. Oh yeah, and I definitely think that especially fraternities and sororities, yes, are partaking in hazing. Some of the hazing that I witnessed with my own eyes, with fraternities when I was in college, you know, to the capacity of me, sorority girl, hanging out with fraternities, you know, was freaking disgusting, horrendous. I should have reported it to the authorities. And I wish I had. It can be really terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Lauren Q says, I don't think the roaming around was weird. The screaming and massive battle that went on between Xana, Ethan, and BK is what I can't imagine overlooking. I gotcha. And why is that me talking now? Let me stop that. Okay. Okay, and that video is almost done. Good question. Yeah. Have they shared their thoughts on the motive and or targets? Yeah, as I've talked to them over the past 2.5 months, their idea of targets specifically has changed, but I think it's kind of it's reflecting how the opinion that many of us had had about, is there a target? Who is the target? Is it the whole house? Is it one person? That's changed in response to what law enforcement has said, information that has been pushed out there, and a number of other things. I think that, and again, I'll clarify this question too. It's a good one. But I think that they believe that Maddie and Xana were being targeted. Well, I know that they believe that. I'll verify it though. That's a good question. And then motive, I love Sharpies. Mm-hmm. Agape Love says they have the investigative team sure was looking and taking photos in that kitchen and living room, stepping around and over something. Yeah, I observed that as well. Oh no, I don't think that. Vero says Kaylee and Maddie did not appear to be on Molly at the Corner Club or the Grubhub video. I personally don't think that. I just want to say I was personally not trying to insinuate that whatsoever. And I agree with you on that. I don't think this is a crazy question. I've actually been thinking about this a lot too. I was just reading some people in the comments were talking about the bathroom, and it's come up before. I think this is a good question. I think I know where you're asking. Kelly, crazy question, I know, but was the bathroom outside Xana and Ethan's room considered community property on party nights for Dylan, or were partiers and Dylan expected to use the one downstairs? I have no idea, obviously. I'm going to find out. I'm so glad you said that. I'm going to see if we can find out some information on that, because I think it's really important to understanding how things may have gone down that night without that 911 call being made until 11:58 the next morning, right? Okay. Oh, the video's almost ready. Randy says, interesting. It's a Molly house, and the neighbor, Einan Harsh, spent time in the slammer for working with that substance. While was BK buying that from Harsh also? Yikes. If so, there goes the pings down the toilet. Wow, Randy. Huh? Wow. I kind of wish you didn't actually write out that comment. The defense attorney would like to get a hold of that. Wow. Huh. Wow. That was well thought out. Why do you need a cut and paste thing of the PCA? I can get you whatever you need, whatever kind of version of it. Okay, here we go. Finally, this video's cooked. Let me see here.
Actually, if we could just go to this one first.
Okay. So I'm going to try to bring this little video into the stream. You're going to have to let me know if you have audio. Oh, no audio. Cool. Oh my gosh. Ready? Hi, honey bun. Have I said hello to you yet? I have in my head. Let's see. Why is it not bringing in audio?
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Do you have audio now, guys, or no?
Did the roommate make the call on
Ah!
or can you verify it's another individual?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call to be, it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates, can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
Somebody asked if that was the killer.
No, that's correct. So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but you used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, I guess,
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take two more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how it happened without the other 2 hearing it or waking up there?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information out. And I can assure you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So, thank you.
Are you able to talk to your person will strike again? In terms of technology, do you consider the text connected?
This channel looks forward to seeing that complete justice is served for the Idaho 4 and their families. May the Idaho 4, Madison, Kelly, Ethan, and Xana rest in peace. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. All right. We can delete the background music. Okay, thank you. Good to know. How much has it got? So I just want to read a couple comments here. Guys, just be respectful to each other in chat, please. Yeah, I know. Chief Rye did seem nervous a lot in those press conferences. I think he just felt he was way in over his head, right? Okay, thank you, Elliot. I appreciate your feedback. Plunder got the report for me, gunshot. Hey, Keschik, I'm glad you're here. And May was about our community stop. A. Charles. So who's A. Charles, who eventually says, and may the lies about our community stop because there's a gag order in place and people need content. There is a gag order in place. All the content you're going to get on this channel is what it is. Let me try to get some context for that. Wow, GT been to 36 states. That's a lot of states. Oh, so A. Charles, where are you from? Are you from Idaho? Or was it Pullman that was being talked about? Or I'm just interested to know. And everyone, just be respectful, please. Please in chat. I don't know exactly what's going on. Okay. So I think you're talking about Pullman. Yeah, guys, come on, listen. Dylan's a female, all right? Just, I know that people are talking about all kinds of things having to do with this case and, the people that were unfortunately involved and were somehow made victims of this tragedy. But look, I don't want to do it on this channel, all right? I'm just not down with that. Hey, Jamie Rosberg, how you doing? Just Kelly was Xana the target. I personally, from everything that I've learned, feel that it was Maddie and or Xana. But I certainly don't know for sure. What do you think? Hi, Helen. How are you doing? Welcome. Nice to see ya. Yeah, of course, honey bun. I'm going to be signing off soon, actually. I'm getting really tired. And I'm going to talk to these two guys for a couple minutes after this so I can ask some of the follow-up questions. and get some stuff together for you for a couple days from now. Hey, Validation Boy, how are you doing? Which vids? Oh gosh, guys. Oh my gosh, guys. Thought they could have met that building, right? So Kate Bray says, Charles, are you the one we went over the maps with the other night? And your thought was that they could have met at that building that Brian and one of the girls could have went to. Yeah, Charles. Nora's grandma is vouching for Charles. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I don't know why people are giving him grief either. Please don't, guys. I love this comment. I know her name is Kaylee. I don't think her name is Kelly. I'm sorry if you don't like how I pronounce it. Yes, Rosie. Randy does stub a toe frequently. He's written that before. I thought that was a good comment. And yeah, you can delete passive aggressive comments. That's good. I don't know what's going on. So I think it's getting a little late. I'm going to have to go soon anyhow. So thank you guys for being here. So I will definitely do a live stream. Let's see what's today, Monday. So either Wednesday or Thursday. And I will ask these follow-up questions. I'm hoping for one of these guys to actually come on and talk himself sometime soon. One is definitely more willing than the other. I will be looking forward to that because I'd rather allow people to speak for themselves. Thank you, Vero. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, yes. Gosh, Gregory, you're the best. Honey Bun, where's your question? Oh, my goodness. Are you doing a live stream after this, Ara? Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much, moderators. You guys are the best. It's great to see everyone. Thank you, subscribers, members, people who are just stopping by to say hello. I hope you join us again. People watching the replay, you guys are all great. And I thank you so much for all of your comments and insight that you add to the conversation. Wait, Rock, so if a guy wants to get the chat stopped, he can jump in, cause chaos, then play victim. Who was that? Please just name the person. I'm a little lost here. I'm sorry if I didn't clearly understand what was going on. It was a little hard to follow. Oh, Honey Bun says, does anyone want a puppy? They are Australian Kelpie and Lab mix and very smart family of dogs. I had 3 moms have litters and can't keep them, but I don't want them to just get killed. I'm located in, oh, that's so sweet, Northeast Alabama. Please, even if you're unsure about getting one, do me a favor. I have 27 right now. Oh my gosh, Honey Bun. Wow. Hey, Honey Bun, email me, please. I'm going to try to help you out with this a little bit. Oh. WhatsAppsession@gmail.com. Just like put your name or something in capital letters in the subject so I realize it's you, and I'll get right back to you. I'll see if we can help you with the puppies. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Kay Braze. I appreciate it. It was great to see you. Yeah, do please hit like on your way out if you don't mind. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for being here. I like Brian Etten too. Yeah, I agree, Sarah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Double R, please don't jump in and run your mouth. No. I'm glad you're still here, though. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Muckboy says, I know what's going on. You're too dang nice and somehow see every comment when most can't read one. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. I'm sorry about that. And I'm sorry. I think I was kind of defending him. I don't know. I really didn't know what's going on. I sorry. I should just stay out of it. Hey, Laura Jean says, Kelly, did you say that the fraternity guys did confirm that Dylan got rid of some stuff? No, I think no. So I'm glad you asked that question. They did not confirm that. And the conversation that we had about this, I need to put this in the proper context because it was following up a period of time where a number of people on a number of YouTube and cable news channels, and it seemed like all over the place everywhere, were making statements such as, that house and the people in it were running some kind of a huge, big profiteering ring. These horrific crimes were primarily motivated because it was a big, D house. And that simply was not the case. Were it not for that rampant speculation that was becoming very hurtful to people who are close to the victims and just in the community, I never would have even brought up the Molly thing. So let me be more accurate in saying what they said was that would be the only thing going on. It was not like on that scale that I had just described. And it's just something people in college do these days. So that would be a more accurate statement. They did not say that they confirmed that she, was running around getting rid of stuff. They did not confirm that, no. You're not blocked, Brian. Yeah, honey bun, please email me because, with my rabbits and I'm connected with a lot of animal people. I'm sure we can help you place some of those little babies. Aw. Awesome. Greg McNeely says, remember the standards of proof. Sketchy as hell, 25%. Preponderance of evidence, 51%. Civil, clear and convincing, 67%. Fraud, defamatory, beyond a reasonable doubt, 95%. Criminal. Really good comment. Thank you, Bubbly Waters. Love on that like button. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's not stress each other out here. Life is hard enough, and this subject matter is hard enough. Brian, I will email you a cut and pasteable freaking version of the PCA. How does that sound? I'll do it in a couple minutes, okay? Such an important point, Rosie. I must express again, I pray any Molly anywhere is hopefully pure Molly without any fentanyl in it. Just before this live stream, I was reading an article in my local news that there were several heroin overdoses in my little town just a couple days ago because there's like a bad batch out there that's cut with fentanyl. And so I actually, for my profession and just, the area I live in and the time we live in today, always am able to administer Narcan and have Narcan in my office and wherever. So I was just making sure I could get, seeing if we need more Narcan around here because it is an absolute epidemic. It's unbelievable. Oh, thank you so much, Rock Like a Cobb. I appreciate that. I don't know, Brian. I don't know. You'll have it for the future, though. Oh, I really appreciate that, Agape. Awesome chat, Kelly. Thank you for providing this space and to all the mods. And last but not least, the obsessors, which I'm happy to be part of. God bless each and every one of you. What a beautiful comment. Thank you so much, Agape Love. I'm so glad you're part of the community here. Oh, let's see. Tasha, is new here. Nice to meet y'all. Nice to meet you. And I hope you enjoyed. And please come back. We would love to have you again. You guys are great. It's not accidental overdoses. It's controlled poisonings. Whatever it is, it's terrible. Oh my gosh. So I feel, Nora's grandma says, I feel you, Kelly. I teach high school kiddos. We as teachers are required to keep Narcan in our classrooms and have been trained on using it. It's crazy. I was a high school special ed teacher for a while. I do something a little different now, but thank you for being an educator. Rock Like a Cop says, I wish we could all have Narcan just in case. I think in many states, anybody can get it and be trained on administering it now. Isn't that? I'm gonna find this out for us. I will definitely let you know next live stream. This is an important issue and problem that is causing deaths and ruining lives across the country and around the world. Let's figure this out. I'm also Kelly from New York. Hi, Kelly. Kelly Block from New York. Is it snowing where you are right now? Oh, that's great, Erin. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. That's good. Oh, all you good Narcan carriers. That's awesome. That's amazing, Adjusted Fate. Yep. That's what, yeah. Yep. Or you can go to the fire department. Okay, awesome. Go to the fire department. Go to your local fire department, and they should be able to provide it to you with the training, or tell you another resource. Probably provide it right there, I think. But yeah. It's snowing here too, Kelly, in this part of New York, and I'm hoping we're gonna have a snow day tomorrow because I still get snow days. But right now it looks like a 2-hour delay. All right, guys. A bunch of YouTube members. Seems Kelly had a bunch of YouTube members in her class. Yeah. Well, yeah, please stay away from fentanyl. Damn Narcan does not work for chronicle druga. The zombie gangrene drug wasn't what? I'm not exactly sure what all of that meant, but I definitely think let's all work on mental health, our own, and supporting one another before anything. But, with fentanyl being an epidemic right now, Narcan is saving lives, and every single one of them, in my opinion, is worth saving. So, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Erin. Good night, Miss EQ. Thanks for being here. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much, moderators. You're the bomb. Everyone who is here, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Be looking for that next live stream either Wednesday or Thursday evening. And everyone, please be safe. Check out your Narcan availability and training. Stay warm if you're in New York. Stay cool if you're somewhere that's really hot. And know that I care about all of you. And I hope to see you again next time. Wait, I just want to address this question that says, why didn't I report the hazing? I want to answer that. Where did it go? I raise bunnies too, by the way. I did not report the hazing because I was let's see. So it would be when I was 19, and it was just I was 19, and it was a terrible error in judgment. I wish I had, and that's all I can say about it. So yeah, hazing that hurts people never should happen.